California has almost 300 state parks that encompass some of the state's most beautiful natural areas. Whether it's the stunning coastline, towering trees, or wildlife sanctuaries, the state parks have something for everyone. Of course, it's impossible to pick the best, but I wanted to share 13 of my favorites in this video. Also note that I didn't include places like Hearst Castle and Bodie, which would normally be on a list like this, as I wanted to make a separate list of state historic parks. With that said, here are 13 of my favorite state parks in California, and let me know what I left off in the comments. First up, Emerald Bay is easily in my top 3 most beautiful places in all of California. I've been so many times, but I love going back every chance I get. When you're driving Highway 89 and see Finette Island sitting out in the water, it's just an incredible view and something you won't soon forget. The park itself is accessed by parking in the lot at the top and walking down about a mile to the beach below. From there you can rent kayaks and float out on the water, tour the historic Vikings home, or view Eagle Falls on a nice short hike. It's one of those parks that you'll spend the entire day at and still leave wanting more. Also, it's an incredible place for sunrise if you want to get up early too. Next up, Anza Borrego State Park is an awesome desert park in Southern California with lots of fun places to explore. The park has over 500,000 acres and it's the largest state park in California. Anza Borrego has slot canyons, awesome off-roading, and dozens of metal sculptures scattered around the desert landscape. Also, Fonts Point is one of my favorite spots for sunset in the state as well. Do make sure you have a half to a full day to explore the park though, as there's lots of driving between the different attractions. My next recommendation is Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park. Heading north from Hearst Castle, Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park is right in the middle of Big Sur and it features one of the state's most famous attractions, McWay Falls. The park also has hiking trails to some beautiful views, but the main attraction is a short quarter-mile trail that allows you to walk along an overlook and look down on the waterfall that falls directly on the beach. It's a really easy spot to access and a popular one for photography, so you'll see dozens of other people there with you, especially at sunset. It's really hard to find a better view in all of California than this spot though. My next recommendation is Crystal Cove State Park. Crystal Cove is located in the heart of Orange County and has over 3 miles of coastline. The park also has many miles of hiking trails with beautiful coastal views and amazing sandy beaches at the end. I love hiking here on a spring day and then spending a few hours just relaxing on the beach. Plus, the park also has the Crystal Cove Shake Shack, which is an awesome spot for a milkshake and a view of the ocean after a nice hike. Recommendation number 5 is Limekiln State Park. Limekiln State Park is another entry from Big Sur and one that was even scheduled to close about a decade ago. Luckily that didn't happen and now Limekiln can be explored in the southern section of Big Sur. The park has a great beach, beautiful campground, and a few nice trails. One of the trails goes to a waterfall and the other goes to some historic lime kilns. It's not as visited as many of the other parks in this list, but I think it's a beautiful example of the diversity in the California state parks. Next up is McArthur-Burney State Park. This park is the second oldest in California after Big Basin, and it's home to probably my favorite waterfall in the state. The park has lots of hiking options, a campground, and of course the amazing Burney Falls. This waterfall is truly a sight to see as it dominates the landscape and provides some amazing photographic opportunities. Honestly, if you're anywhere near this park, which is east of Redding, then you must make the trip over to see it. My next recommendation is Angel Island State Park. Angel Island is an island in the San Francisco Bay that was originally used for military installations. Now the island is a state park that you must take a ferry over to visit, and it's an incredible place to explore while in San Francisco. The ferry takes you by Alcatraz on your way to the island, then once you're there you basically have the whole place to yourself as you walk around. On the 5-mile perimeter walk, you can explore old buildings and soak in all of the amazing views. Just make sure you're back in time for the last ferry off the island. My next recommendation is Humboldt Redwood State Park. Humboldt Redwood State Park is home to the Avenue of the Giants, which is another one of my favorite places in the entire state. This beautiful 32-mile drive passes under massive redwoods, has dozens of groves to explore, and has truly some of the largest trees you've ever seen. I have an entire video on just this drive if you're interested, plus you can drive through a tree here as well, which is something that many California visitors want to do. My next recommendation is Prairie Creek Redwood State Park. Heading north from the last recommendation, you'll enter Redwood National Park. This park is basically a collection of several state parks, with one of them being Prairie Creek. Prairie Creek Redwood State Park has amazing groves to explore, but my favorite thing to do there is to visit Fern Canyon, one of my favorite hiking trails in the state. The hike through Fern Canyon is like something you would see in Hawaii, and it's not a hike you'll soon forget. Plus, driving through the state park, you may even see elk as well, which are frequent in the area. Also, Trillium Falls is on the outskirts of Prairie Creek, and it's another great hike with beautiful redwoods and a nice waterfall at the end. You'll easily fall in love with the area just by driving through this park. My next recommendation is Russian Gulch State Park. Russian Gulch is in the city of Mendocino along the northern coast of California, and it has a few attractions that make it a must visit. The first is a large sinkhole out near the Mendocino headlands that you definitely need to see. The second is a viewpoint looking back towards the park and the historic bridge, which is one of my favorite photo spots in the state. The last thing to do is to hike through the park to a stunning waterfall with a tree that's fallen right in the middle of the waterfall. It's another park that doesn't get visited as often, but there's a lot to like at this park. My next recommendation is Antelope Valley State Park. Heading back to Southern California, Antelope Valley State Park is about 45 minutes outside of Los Angeles. This park is incredibly popular in the spring when the poppies are blooming, and if you come at the right time, you'll find a sea of orange stretching out in front of you. It's a beautiful park every year with nice hiking trails, but if you go during a super bloom like we had a few years ago, it's incredibly hard to beat. I've even been on non-super bloom years though, and it's definitely still worth the visit. My next recommendation is Torrey Pines State Park. Torrey Pines is probably the best place for coastal hiking in Southern California. The trails are stunning with amazing coastal views and equally amazing San Diego weather. The hiking trails also have the famous Torrey pine trees, which are only found in San Diego and one of the Channel Islands off the coast. Most of the trails in the park ultimately lead down to an amazing beach, and it's a great spot to relax after a morning of hiking. My last recommendation is Ano Nuevo State Park outside of Santa Cruz. Ano Nuevo State Park protects an important breeding ground for elephant seals, and it's one of the most unique state parks I've explored. Depending on when you go, you will either be able to hike around the park yourself or go on a ranger-led hike out to where the seals are at. It feels like you're on a safari as you cross over the sand dunes hoping to see these massive creatures, and it's one of the most fun adventures I've had at a state park in California. So there you have it, my list of 14 parks you must visit in California. Be sure to let me know what I left off in the comments, and we'll see you on the next video.